Hello fellow steepers and stitchers, or welcome. My name is Sarah. Grab yourself a cup of your favourite steeped beverage, maybe pick up some stitches if you've got a project that you're working on, and settle in. Today I am going to be talking to you about 3 different teas, and they are right here. I've got one from Whittards, one from Etiquette in Edinburgh, and one from Bird and Blend. What these teas all have in common is they are, all 3 of them, iterations of pumpkin spice. Just if anyone's wondering on the end, these are not tiny weird shaped pumpkins. These are my onion squash that I grew in my garden this year. It is the 5th of November. Nowhere is selling pumpkins anymore. I couldn't find a pumpkin for love nor money, so the onion squash are very kindly stepping in to represent the orange squashes of the world. So this year I tried pumpkin spice latte for the very first time. I know, so late to the party. If anyone knows me in real life, they will not be surprised by this. I am chronically late to everything. Just turns out that this party has been going for 20 years and it's taken me that long to join in. I will say in my defense, I only found out I liked coffee last year. So yeah. This year I decided I was going to try pumpkin spice and see what all the fuss was about, because we kind of get to around the end of summer, so kind of end of August, and then all of a sudden it's pumpkin spice everything, like everything, and it's been getting more and more and more each year, and this year it just seemed to be that it came really early and just pumpkin spice everywhere. Now I will say I have a vanilla pumpkin hand cream from the Body Shop that I absolutely love, so you know I'm bought into this. But it seems to me we now have summer pumpkin spice season and then Christmas. Somehow autumn has been swallowed up by this phenomena that is pumpkin spice, and I wanted to find out what all the fuss was about. So like I say, tried pumpkin spice latte for the very first time this year, and yeah, I know I'm new to coffee, but I don't get it. Like, it's tasty, it smells very nice, it is not unpleasant to drink. But apparently, reported sales of this over the past 20 years, 600 million pumpkin spice lattes. Like, is it that good? Really? What am I missing here? So I figured maybe it's because I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker. Okay, maybe it's the coffee element of this that I'm not getting. I'll get some pumpkin spice tea. But I couldn't stop there. No. My brain went off on a little tangent, fell down that little rabbit hole, and I have ended up with 3 pumpkin spice teas, none of which I have drunk yet. So this is going to be interesting because I want to do a little bit of compare and contrast. Now, before I get into some tea tasting, I have to say, when I fall down a rabbit hole, I fall down hard. And this sent me on a little bit of a research kind of Googlage. So I'm going to grab my notes here and share some of the facts that I found. And I apologise for the lighting. Like I say, 5th of November. It is the afternoon. It is also blowing a fairly decent storm outside, so there is intermittent brightness and then just utter downpour, and I'm trying to get this in before all the fireworks start tonight, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. So, pumpkin spice is mostly known as a combination of cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cloves, and sometimes allspice. This seems to be the kind of the modern take on what pumpkin spice is. Pumpkins themselves are over 9,000, I almost said 900, 9,000 years old, and they originate from North America and Mexico. Squashes are used as part of a 3-crop system that has been kind of recorded both orally and kind of written down for Native American cultures, where growing maize/corn, beans and squash all at the same time gives a really good utilization of land. It also gives a nice kind of sequential harvest, because they all kind of crop at different times, and the maize provides kind of structure for the beans to climb up. The beans climbing up, the maize helps stabilize it, so when there's a big wind that blows through, it might not get blown around quite so much. And the squash, which anyone who has grown squash at home knows that squash like to roam. They like to spread out, and spreading out across the kind of the ground, they help stop weeds coming up and protect kind of the ground underneath the maize and the beans. So I thought that was really interesting. Unless you've been living under a rock for like several hundred years, you will know that North America and Mexico were colonized by the Europeans in a not particularly wonderful period of history, beginning around about the 1400s. And part of that colonization is that some things that were grown over there were exported kind of back to Europe. So pumpkins have been in Europe for quite some time. And I found that there was a record, quite interestingly, from a cookbook that was published in, I've got two dates for it, 1655 and 1671. Now, I don't know if there is some confusion about the date or whether the second one was like a second edition, but it's called The Complete Cook and a Queen's Delight by W.M. No other author, just W.M. Like, that's quite enigmatic. And they list a pumpkin pie recipe that calls for cinnamon, nutmeg, pepper, and 6 cloves as its seasoning. So pumpkin pie was being cooked in England back in 1655. So it's been around a little while. So it's not just me who's late to the party. Starbucks was late too. So I feel slightly better about that. We then see a book in the 1796, in the 1796 and 1796, there's not like multiples of them, just 1796, by Amelia Simmons, called American Cookery, which had again a pumpkin. So the one in 1655 was pumpkin, and the one in 1796 pumpkin pie recipe, and that has mace, nutmeg, and ginger listed as its seasoning. There was a reprint of that in 1798, so clearly quite a popular book, and that reprint listed 2 recipes for pumpkin pie, one with nutmeg and ginger and the other with allspice and ginger. So pumpkin pie, very popular, as it turns out. Then there's not really much between kind of 1790s until we get to 1930s, and there are 2 proprietary, why can I never say this word? There are 2 proprietary, we'll go with that, blends of pumpkin spice that are released. One in 1933 by Thompson and Taylor, and that contained 9 different spices, and one in 1934 by McCormick's, which contained 4 spices. So previously recipes would say you need a bit of this and a bit of that, and you needed to have all these things available and take small bits of your kind of spice stash. What these guys did is go, don't worry about all that, we'll just whack it all in a tin or a jar for you, and you just need a scoop of this thing that's already pre-mixed. So, yeah, pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice seems to have only been around since the 1930s as a blend of spices for pudding specifically with pumpkins, but spiced pumpkin seems to have been around as something yummy to eat for quite some time. Now, I did do a little bit of research as to how Starbucks came up with pumpkin spice latte, and it turns out they spent a lot of time pouring coffee on pumpkin pies and then eating them. Which, you know, fair play. I hope they had decent tablecloths. Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, when it was first released in 2003, their pumpkin spice latte contained no pumpkin. But why would it? Because it's not spiced pumpkin latte, it's pumpkin spice latte. So it is latte flavoured with pumpkin spice. However, in 2015, it would appear they actually added pumpkin to the recipe. So is it now spiced pumpkin latte rather than pumpkin spice latte? Something to be queried, perhaps. Okay, so that's a little bit of a brief overview of pumpkin spice. So now we should probably talk about the tea. Interestingly enough, we've got a spiced pumpkin chai, a pumpkin chai, and a spiced pumpkin pie. You'll notice that none of these are called tea. Bear with me. They actually are, because chai is simply just another word for tea. For some reason in this country we seem to think it means spiced tea. It doesn't, it just means tea. I'm going to read you a little excerpt from a book that I have that's very cool. It's called Tea, and it is by Kevin Gascoigne, Francois Marchand, Jasmine Deschanel, and Hugo Emerici. It's absolutely fantastic. If you like tea and you're interested in knowing more about tea, very good read. But it has a little note here on the roots of the word tea. So here we go. The various words used to refer to tea were developed with the trade routes. The countries to which tea was brought by a sea route used words that began with the letter T. Tea in English, tea in German, thé in French, and thé in Italian. There are all variations of the term thé, borrowed from Minnan-hao, a Chinese dialect from Fujian province. On the other hand, countries to which tea was brought by an overland route, Tibet, India, Iran, Russia, use words beginning with the syllable ch or ch, borrowed from the Mandarin cha. So, chai, we can see, originates from those trade routes overland. And that is it. It is simply just another word for tea. Just thought I would clear that up before we get started. There are written records dating back to the late 1600s of people combining cooked spices with tea and brewing it to drink. These are from the journals of people who were travelling through the Assam region of India. And as you might know if you've watched any of my previous videos about tea, the plant Camellia sinensis assamica grows in Assam, shockingly enough, and it is a slightly different variation from Camellia sinensis, which is the Chinese tea plant. So yeah, people have been drinking spiced tea for a really long time, which makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not quite as late to this party as I thought I was. So if Starbucks were only doing this 20 years ago, although, oh, that's spiced coffee. Oh darn, no, I really am late to this party. Oh well, never mind. I like spiced tea. I'm just not sure if I like pumpkin spice tea. So there's only one way to find out, and that's to try some. I have not opened these. I don't even know what they smell like. But this is one. So this is from Whittards. Whittards is a very commercially available brand. That's the word I'm looking for in this country. They're known for their teas, coffees, and hot chocolates. The ingredients in this are black tea, pumpkin, ginger, carrot, flavouring, which doesn't actually expand on what that flavouring is, cinnamon and cloves. So this actually has pumpkin in it. So this is spiced pumpkin chai. So this is not pumpkin spice chai, this is spiced pumpkin chai. Thank you. The way the words go round makes a difference. Like I say, I have not opened this, so excuse the noise that this is going to make. Comes in a little bag. Definitely has, I think maybe the carrot is to give it some sort of flavouring, but carrot is quite sweet. So maybe it's to add a little bit of sweetness there as well. I'm just going to give it a little, can't really smell anything through the plastic. Be nice if it didn't come in plastic, but anyway, that's fine. Ooh, ooh. Oh, the smell. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that almost has a slightly brandy smell to it. Am I thinking brandy? I don't really know my kind of liquors and liqueurs very well. But I think I want to say brandy because it smells almost like cherry brandy chocolates. That is quite pungent. Like, nicely pungent, but quite pungent. I can definitely smell the carrot in it. I think that might be the pumpkin as well. There's almost like a kind of fruity smell to it. It really does smell like cherry brandy chocolates. Okay, well that smells nice. There we go, it smells nice. At least we know it smells nice. I'm going to pop it back in its packet for the moment. This recommends per cup infuse 1 teaspoon of tea in boiling water for 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so that is Whittards. Next we have this. So Etiquette are a small tea merchants in Edinburgh that a friend of mine recommended to me, and I have been very much enjoying their teas. You can get most of them in like little 20-gram kind of sachets for trying, but I got 80 grams of loose leaf tea because go big or go home. So I went chonk. What does it say is in this one? Why can I not find any ingredients? Okay, this is really interesting. It doesn't actually appear to have the ingredients on the box. Let me see if there's anything on the inside that would indicate what it has in it. Nope, there's just a bag of tea. Okay. Oh, this is fun though. The inner bag, which might look like plastic, is actually created using wood pulp. So it is recyclable. Fabulous. Okay. I just need to find what this has in it and how long I'm supposed to brew it for. Although it does have a little how to brew guide on the back by kind of types of tea. So it says black 3 minutes. I'm assuming this is black tea because it looks like black tea. Slightly disturbed that I can't find what's in it. Just
1 eternity later.
Okay, pumpkin chai. Ingredients, here we go. Black tea, cinnamon pieces, ginger bits, pumpkin seeds, chicory roots, cardamom, natural flavouring and cloves. Okay, so a little bit different from the previous one. Again, has pumpkin in it. So they're calling it pumpkin chai. Okay, yeah, pumpkin tea. It actually has pumpkin in it, so cool beans. Excuse again the crinklage. Okay, there's got to be something in pumpkin because once again, this smells slightly alcoholic, unless it's this like flavouring that no one is discussing. But this smells less in your face than the other one. It smells a bit more subtle. It's definitely got that slight kind of like fruity edge to it. And again, smells slightly like cherry brandy chocolates, but ever so slightly sweeter, like there's some vanilla in there instead. But yeah, still smells nice. Okay, cool beans. Let's pop that away. So that is number 2. Number 3 is from Bird and Blend. They have stores all over the country now, which is pretty cool. This pouch does not contain plastic, so it can be recycled. Yay, fantastic. And this is spiced pumpkin pie. And they've said, perhaps our most loved blend ever, autumn spiced pumpkin chai. Contains Sri Lankan black tea. I like that they say where their tea is from. That's very cool. Sri Lankan black tea, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, carrot, sprinkles. So apparently there are sprinkles in this, which are made up of sugar, potato starch, maltodextrin and vegetable fat, which comes from olives. Also with the colours E163 anthocyanins, E100 curcumin and E153, which is vegetable carbon. It also contains vanilla pieces and natural flavouring. Okay. Let's give it a sniff and see what this one smells like. God, I thought that was a spider for a moment. Nope, it's just a slightly hairy piece of ginger. If anyone has ever used ginger for cooking, you know it gets those like little strands. That's what that was. Okay. This smells slightly like spicy potpourri, but without the flowers, if that makes sense. Quite subtle, doesn't have an alcoholic smell to it. It smells like autumn spice and Christmas spice got together and had a baby. Again, like very subtle, so they seem to be going like least subtle to most subtle. Yeah. Again, slightly fruity, but without that kind of like alcoholic tinge to it. I haven't seen any sprinkles. Oh no, there's a sprinkle. Hang on, I want to get a sprinkle out. It's very cute. I want to show you the sprinkle. Don't fall over anywhere. That's so cute. Let me see if I can. It's like a little. Whoop! Can I put it there? Oh, it's not going to stay. Come on. It's like a little orange heart. It's like, that's very cute. I guess that adds a little bit of sweetness when it dissolves in your tea. So those are the 3 teas that I am going to be trying. And in the essence of fairness, I am going to brew them according to their packaging instructions. Because I only have 2 see-through glasses, I have my science beakers instead. They're going to go in science beakers. I am going to brew each one with 250 ml of water because that is a standard mug size. I'm not brewing cups, I'm brewing mugs. And I'm going to pour half into one beaker and half into the other beaker. I'm going to try each one both with and without milk. And I am going to be using dairy milk for this. Full fat dairy milk because Jersey whole milk is delicious. And not that that's the only full fat dairy milk you can get, but I happen to like full fat Jersey milk. So obviously if you are drinking these, you can drink them without milk, with milk, whatever sort of milk that you like. But that is how I am going to brew each of these, and once I have brewed them up, I will come back to you and we will have a taste test. Okay, so our tea is brewed. It has got significantly darker, so the lighting has shifted. It's only been 15 minutes, but hey ho, there we go. We'll work with what we've got. We now have 3 teas. This is the Whittard's one, the Etiquette one, and the Bird and Blend one. And you might have noticed from some of the footage of the beakers that there appears to be less of the Whittard's one than there are of the other 2. I think that's because it appears to have more bits in it. So obviously some of the water when you put it in is soaked up by the tea leaves themselves, but also any other ingredients that you've put in there. And certainly the leftover sludge, which is not sludge, but after brewing the Whittard's one was a little kind of heavier. And even though I am using a measured teaspoon, this is the teaspoon that I am using, it is a teaspoon from Bird and Blend, and it says on 1 cup of perfect tea. This is a measured teaspoon. Obviously each teaspoon is going to be ever so slightly different. It's going to have different amounts of tea leaf in it, different amounts of ingredients in. Each of the 3 blends has a different amount of ingredients in. So I'm not surprised to find that I have slightly different amounts of tea coming from each blend. I am quite shocked at the difference in colour. So got quite a dark one from Whittard's. The other 2 were kind of quite similar in colour. Should we give them a try? Let's give them a try. Let's see what they're like. Sniff test. Each of these, by the way, were brewed for 3 minutes with freshly boiled water. 3 minutes is the average standard for all of them that they kind of recommend. So Whittard say 3 to 5. Etiquette said 3, and Bird and Blend said 2 to 4. So I just went with 3 across the board, make it nice and fair. So this is Whittard's. This is their spiced pumpkin chai, and this is it without milk. Drinking from a science beaker. I've always wanted to do this. I was that kid in science class that was like, can I drink this? Can I sniff this? What's in this? I never drank anything in science class, though. I was quite a stickler for playing by the rules. So yeah, did sniff a few things that maybe I shouldn't have sniffed. I'll be honest, it just tastes like tea. Like, is the spice supposed to come afterwards? I mean, it's nice tea, but it's not very spicy. Like, I don't know where the pumpkin is, and I don't know where the spice is. Yep, I'm going to try it with milk. Now, to each of these second beakers, I added a splash of milk. I don't like very milky tea, but came out quite milky anyway. So this is it with a splash of whole fat Jersey milk. Okay, now that is spicier. I think there's something about adding the milk that brings out the spice a little bit. Yeah, not unpleasant, but I'm not sure I'm rushing down the shops when it gets released. That's yeah, not unpleasant, but it's a nice tea. It's certainly not going to set the world on fire. Let's try number 2, which is the Etiquette, which is their pumpkin chai. So without milk first. Okay. Again, smells nice. I'm not going to do, I've suddenly thought, you know what, when they do wine tasting, in fact, when I've seen people do professional tea tasting, they do the whole slurpy thing. Not going to do the slurpy thing. No one needs that in their life. Certainly not on the internet. It's bad enough you can hear me swallow. There's a little more spice to that. It's a little more aromatic in your mouth. Like, there are flavours that, I don't know, it feels more kind of like it hits the roof of your mouth a little bit more. It certainly tastes like less of a normal cup of tea than the other one did. Whittard's just tasted like pretty much a regular cup of tea with maybe just a little hint of something. Yeah, this is nice. Got quite a light flavour to it. You can kind of taste the fruit, not the fruit, but there's like a fruity tang to it a little bit. And this one does have pumpkin in it, so actually you can taste fruit. I'm not wrong in saying you can taste fruit. Let's try it with some milk. So here it is with a splash of milk. Trying not to put the pointy bit of the beaker. Oh, and this beaker has a chip on it, so let's not drink out of that side, shall we? It kind of tastes the same with and without milk. I don't think, whereas with the Whittard's one, adding the milk, he definitely brought out the spices a little bit more. This hasn't done that. It tastes the same, pretty much, just slightly milky. I'm going to take another sip though, because it's quite pleasant. That one's definitely got more of a pumpkin taste to it. Yeah, I'm still, being brutally honest, not blown away by either of these so far. Let's have a drink of water. Let's move on to the last one. So this is Bird and Blend's spiced pumpkin pie. Fabulous. Just realised this is quite a lot of caffeine that I am now consuming in the later part of the day. Oh, and this beaker has a chip too. I don't know quite how I've managed to get all the chipped ones out. Well done me. I'm glad I noticed that before I stuck it in my mouth. So here we go. Again, not overwhelmed by I expected spice. I expected a bit more spice from all of them, given that they all have some cinnamon and some ginger in. I'm saying that. Does this one actually have ginger in it? I've forgotten. Yes, it does. I mean, this one is the one that smells least of anything. There's a very, very, very small hint of something, but whereas the other two very distinctly smelt different from tea, this one really doesn't have much of a scent at all. And it's nice. It's a nice cup of tea. I think this is the smoothest cup of tea out of all of them. I think this is the one that kind of glides down the nicest, but yeah, can't really taste anything other than tea. Slightly sweeter tea than usual. Let's try it with some milk. Here we go. This is it, milky. So I think adding the milk just makes that kind of sweetness that it has come out just a little bit more. Don't really taste much of the spice. Like, it's very warm in your mouth, which I know you're going to be like, yeah, but sorry, you made that with fresh boiled water. It's going to be warm because, you know, boiling water. But that's not the warm that I mean. It's yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It just feels warm in your mouth. There we go. I'm going to be ambiguous. Okay. Do you know what? I've tried the coffee. I've tried the tea. Stick with the pie. The pie's delicious. Spiced pumpkin pie, especially homemade, especially fresh from the oven, is yummy. Spiced pumpkin soup is yummy. Because as much as these are pleasant, and certainly they will get drunk, there is not going to be anything go to waste out of these. Let me pop them back up on the shelf so that they are there. There is nothing going to go to waste. They will get drunk. They will get used. Oh, I might try doing a pumpkin spice tea cake. That might be quite pleasant, like an Earl Grey cake. Something to consider. But I'll be honest, I don't get it. It smells nice, and I get that. I love my vanilla pumpkin hand cream. It smells absolutely gorgeous. I love the smell of pumpkin spice. All of these smell very different but very nice in their packets. The tea themselves are quite aromatic and smell quite nice. But in terms of taste, maybe it's just me. But I think, like I say, I'm gonna stick to the edibles rather than the drinkables. So there we go, pumpkin spice, a very short and superficial history with plenty of tea involved. Hopefully that's a little something to help keep you warm on this autumnal evening. If you're heading out for fireworks or bonfire, please do enjoy, stay safe, and I wish you all the best as we start to round out autumn and head on into winter with those festivities that shall not yet be mentioned. It is not yet December, creeping ever closer, and wishing you all the best and see you next time. Bye.